We're the voices of experiencers, and we are the experiences with extraterrestrials.
Yeah, I mean, there's several people have talked about this happening, this flash, and I mean, it goes back all the way to the Hopi Indians. So, yeah, it'll take the grid down, and if they got something in place, I'm good with it. You use dot 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 dot.
Yeah, that's Morse code.
Yeah, Morse code. Well, they had an electrical grid for that at one time. You can send a message, and I don't know what year it was, but a solar flare wiped it all out. You can look it up. Here we go again. Hear that?
Morse code.
See? What? Somebody was talking.
I heard that too. I heard the talking part. I'm like, what is that?
Yeah.
It's time for disclosure. It's time for truth, because truth brings powerful transformations.
It's definitely becoming more normal to turn on your television or pick up a newspaper and see something, to the point that people almost poo-poo it anymore. It's like, oh, another UFO sightings, or more talk on UFOs or on the phenomena.
We're the voices of change and profound evolution.
Well, recently I heard a couple encounters where people reacted as if it was a full-on invasion, and it struck me that I was actually surprised that I didn't hear that more often. Somebody who's not used to the phenomena has an encounter, and they think it's isolated to them, but why not think it's, whenever you see in a movie or a TV show some UFO come down, usually that means like the invasion force is here. It's interesting how rare it is that I've heard that somebody having an encounter, they'll just understand it's got something to do with that time and that moment, rather than to have it be something bigger.
We're the bridge between two different worlds.
I do feel like myself, I feel like I've changed from the 80s till now, almost drastically. I mean, because if you would meet most members of my family, I stand out like a sore thumb, and it's like, how did I come from that tribe? But something happened to me. Something drastic happened, and it's propelled me into these. I'm evolving into something different that's more connected to things, and I know I'm one of millions on this planet, and I feel part of it is from whatever experiences I've had.
Profound integration is coming.
That is why he's here, and that is why you were connected to him. This whole project is connected to everyone that's going through this ascension. Parts of this whole entire thing that we are going through, you are part of it as well as everyone else. His part in this is to help everyone awake by speaking the truth of his experiences to help others learn their truth and their experiences. You are doing one part of a job while he will be doing another. That is why you guys have found each other and connected. You will all be working together, helping one another do parts of this project.
Just who are extraterrestrials? Let's find out with the voices of contact.
We are the voices of experiencers because we are the experiencers. It's time for disclosure, and it's time for truth, because truth brings powerful transformation. And we are the voices of change. We are about evolution on an expansive level, living life without fear and becoming the bridge between two different realities. Profound evolution is here. Profound integration is here. This is the Voices of Contact. Hi, everyone. I'm Mary, I'm a channeler and psychic medium. I'm also a hypnosis regressionist for ET experiencers, and I work with MUFON doing regression work. I also work with PTSD experiencers, paranormal experiencers, and victims of crime to assist them in recall. I'm really looking forward to another amazing show tonight with our panel. I just want to say to you guys that the work that you're doing here with me is so impactful, like literally it's life-changing. And I thank you for being a part of it and being here with me. It means more than you realize to me as well as the listeners. So, allow me to introduce some of my most favorite people. First, we have Deb and RJ DeRoos. They're authors, paranormal UFO researchers, and they're experiencers themselves. And they also are the founders of the Michigan UFO Contact that happens every year in Houghton Lake, Michigan at the end of September. They're owners and managers of Mystical Awakenings Radio, Mystical Awakenings Vodcast on the YouTube channel, and at the Mystical Awakenings Metaphysical Store in Houghton Lake, Michigan. Next, we have the fabulous and well-loved Michael Carter. He is a lifetime UFO contactee, author of Alien Scriptures, Extraterrestrials, and the Holy Bible. He's also a regular consultant on the History Channel's Ancient Aliens series and the Travel Channel's UFO Lost Evidence series, as well as being featured in several UFO documentaries. Last but definitely not least, we have our amazing new panelist, Deborah Jordan Cabo. She was the central figure in Bud Hopkins' international bestseller, Intruders, The Incredible Visitations at Copley Woods, which was actually made into a CBS miniseries in 1992. She's co-author of the book Abducted, The Story of the Intruders Continues, and author of Extraordinary Contact, Life Beyond Intruders. She's a former Indiana MUFON investigator and co-founder of her own paranormal group, Paranormal Underground, and host of the Midwest Paratalk podcast. With the amazing panel that we have tonight, I know that anything is possible. And we are going to get down deep into discovery and answers to what's actually really happening out there. This show is all about transmutating the light from the dark and replacing fear with knowledge. Through my regression work, I have come across amazing cases with some amazing clients. It is my passion to work with them and to help them have a better understanding of the contact they've had. Whether they were taken, have had contact in the physical realm, or through a dream state. I'm grateful that my clients have agreed to allow me to use the regressions on the voices of contact. Tonight, this is the place to be because the panel breaks down the experiences, providing powerful feedback. I love it because all the listeners get to learn and connect, and the person that I regressed walks away even more immersed in the experience with a new perspective on their contact. Literally, it's a win-win, right? This is the voices of contact.
Hi, you guys.
Hi.
Hi, Mary. Hi, Deb. Hi, Bill.
Howdy.
I don't know about you guys, but that week went by very quick.
Good to see your faces again.
Yeah.
We
How are
missed
you guys
Michael,
all
but
doing?
we're doing great. But we're happy to have Bill again.
I know.
It's here.
Michael Carter's still on vacation, and we got Bill Konkoleski in his place
Yeah.
Mhm.
in his groovy shirt.
He looks very groovy, doesn't he?
Whoops, sorry. Banging the table here.
So tonight's episode is just a continuation of last week's, where he saw the ATs when he was on the beach, and they were talking about the object and the grid for Earth. And this week, it will delve into more of what his purpose is. And we even have ET that actually comes through, and he channels ET during the regression. So with this first clip, he talks about that this object and the grid of Earth that holds all of the knowledge is sort of like, you know, the blueprint of everything that's ever happened and what the object and the project is all about.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Okay.
Nice.
Everybody on Earth, they're all connected to this grid, the energy source that is connected to all. The Earth is connected and holds the records of everything that is hidden, all sacred knowledge. And right now, it is time to start taking the sacred knowledge out and using it for humanity when the time is right. And that time is almost now.
And what will humans be expected to know about these grids? Will they know about them?
There will be a lot of energy coming to Earth that will destroy the grid system that we have now. It's only a matter of time. We've been holding it back for a long time, but we need to let it go, and it needs to happen. We are right now waiting for human race to catch up to where they need to be in the ascension to allow this flash to happen.
What do you mean by flash?
There's reasons why we have a lot of solar flares coming through. One will be coming soon, and it's going to destroy the grid system as what we have now. There will be panic, but things will be fine. The new technology will be used and will help the human race to keep going.
And so when he's talking about that new technology, he's talking about that object that we were talking in last week's episode that would be used to generate new energy for Earth.
Yeah, I mean, several people have talked about this happening, this flash, and I mean, it goes back all the way to the Hopi Indians. So, yeah, it'll take the grid down, and it'll, you know, if they got something in place, I'm good with it.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah.
You know, increases solar activity and
Yeah.
the potential for one of these CMEs to really mess with all of our power and electronics and whatnot. I wouldn't want to be in an airplane when it happens.
Right. I think back in the 1800s, when they had the what would you call that? The Morse code, or the that one hit the planet and wiped that all out for a few days. What am I trying to say?
Like amateur radios, the ham
Well, no,
radios.
the
Meteorite?
well, you use dot 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 dot. You know.
Yeah, that's Morse code.
Yeah, Morse code. Well, they had an electrical grid for that at one time. You can send a message, and I don't know what year it was, but a solar flare wiped it all out. You can look it up. Here we go again. Hear that?
Morse code?
See?
What?
Somebody was talking.
I heard that too.
Somebody
I
was
heard the talking part. I'm like, what is that?
Yeah.
Hmm.
And I want you to know we didn't call each other, Bill and I, but the odds of him and I wearing a green shirt and a black shirt, and the ladies all wearing black. I don't know how that happened, but
That almost looks like we planned it, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean a lot of remote viewers have seen that. Yeah,
He goes,
have
Bill's
talked about
just
this,
again.
and I mean a solar flare. If it hits one side of the planet, it'll spread to the other side. But yeah, we would definitely go into panic if all the electrical systems went down. And I mean, it's a very possibility because the sun does have sun flares. So who knows?
And I think that's what the kind of the message is people might panic if something like that happens and think it's the end of the world.
Right.
And what he's saying is it's going to be fine.
Yeah.
You know, recently I heard a couple encounters where people reacted as if it was a full-on invasion, and it struck me that I was actually surprised that I didn't hear that more often. Somebody who's not used to the phenomena has an encounter, And they think it's isolated to them, but why not think it's, whenever you see in a movie or a TV show some UFO come down, usually that means like the invasion force is here. And it's interesting how rare it is that I've heard that somebody having an encounter, they'll just understand it's got something to do with that time and that moment, rather than to have it be something bigger.
Yeah.
This is happening to me, not happening to the woman.
Right. And are you saying it very well could be happening to the world, right? Yeah.
I guess, yeah, sure. It's just, like Chris Bledsoe in his UFO God, when him and his buddies were out fishing and they had that encounter, they thought it was the start of an invasion.
Yeah.
That's one example.
Right.
And there's been talk in the last 2-3 years now that they're going to fake an invasion. And I'm not talking about an invasion that they come down and zap everybody. I'm talking about there's going to be this mass, landings, and that'll be better for people to accept. And then somebody landing on the White House lawn and go and talk to the politicians, they'll think that's kind of fishy, why are they just talking to them? They should be talking to us. So yeah, there's been a lot of talk about it lately, and it's out there. You can see it. So.
All right. So for this next clip, it delves more into the grid system and the part that everybody is playing with the scenarios that he's talking about coming up.
That is why he's here. And that is why you were connected to him. This whole project is connected to everyone that's going through this ascension. Parts of this whole entire thing that we are going through, you are part of it as well as everyone else. His part in this is to help everyone awake by speaking the truth of his experiences to help others learn their truth and their experiences. You are doing one part of a job while he will be doing another. That is why you guys have found each other and connected. We will all be working together, helping one another do parts of this project.
See, I think like this, for me, this message is important because it kind of describes each one of us. Each one of us is doing our own part in this work in some shape or form. It might be different roles, but it's sort of like it's all about disclosure and bringing out the information, but each in our own ways to get the information out there. Mm-hmm. Everybody's a part of the project.
Right.
Yeah, we say each in our own way, but I think the message is the same. You know what I'm saying? It's all a part of something else that we're connected to, and because it's Bill, it's happening big time now. I mean, everybody's talking about it since the government's come out and said this, and I find more people talking about it now than ever. In the last couple of years, so. It's definitely becoming a reality in everybody's consciousness. Right. Something we have to deal with. We have to
the headlines used to be once a year, then once every several months, and this year sometimes it was like 1 week after another. There was another UFO headline.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's definitely becoming more normal. To turn on your television or pick up a newspaper and see something, to the point that people almost poo-poo it anymore. It's like, oh, another UFO sightings, or more talk on UFOs or on the phenomenon.
I read a headline once that said something about the government and, oh yeah, UFOs are real and no one cares. you
I know.
know.
I said,
I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
In a way, that was kind of right. I mean,
Mhm.
because people were like, "Oh, cool, okay,
Right.
whatever." Hey, did
But
you see?
it still blows me away that we get people. I mean, a lot of people are talking, a lot more people are talking now, but we still get people who say, oh, I don't get into that stuff. I don't believe any of that stuff.
well, they're afraid. They're afraid.
Right. But,
Mhm.
we've said for quite a while, I know since we started the UFO contact, every year I say, we, the experiencers, are disclosure, waiting for the government to say, yep, absolutely. They've said a few things enough that, give some people some hope, but it's up to all of us.
As
And
so
that's
many
what
people say, I don't trust the government. I hate all politicians. But if they tell me UFOs are real, well,
yeah,
I will believe them.
Yeah.
then I'll believe it.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, that's
Right.
That's true,
Yeah.
Bill.
Yeah.
That's
But I totally feel what he's saying, that we all do have a role in this, everybody here. And they're, our roles are connected, but they're also different. And I'm glad that more people nowadays are willing to play those roles, to speak out, to do things publicly the way we're doing it here on the show.
So
That's
was
what it takes.
as I was listening to him talk, and in the last couple of clips, is it? It sounds like he's talking about himself in the third person, or is he actually the? Is he the voice we're hearing now? The thoughts train, is that the alien, or why is he speaking about himself in the third person? Is there something else going on
Because
too?
this part of the regression is where I tap into the subconscious, and that's
Oh.
usually how the subconscious will answer.
Okay.
Because it's the deeper mind of just the conscious mind, so they'll often answer
Mm-hmm.
in third person. Every once in a while, you'll hear when you're regressing somebody them say "I," and that's usually the conscious mind trying to break through. But when you have them answering in that third person, that's when you know you've tapped in deep enough where you're talking to the subconscious.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Because I was a little confused there. Thank
and
you
sometimes
for that.
their voices will change, and they'll like somebody else is speaking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It'll sound completely different.
Yeah.
So with this next one, this is actually where we kind of end up surpassing the subconscious, and then ET actually comes through. And if you listen closely enough, RJ, you can hear the slight shift in the voice where it does change mechanical wise. Give me one moment for this one. Now, am I still speaking to the subconscious, or am I speaking with something else?
You're speaking to something else.
What am I speaking with?
You're speaking to someone that has been working with him, someone that he's talked about.
Is this the reptilian?
To a degree, yes. Reptilian, if you want to speak as a physical being.
Can you describe a little bit for me what you look like so I can have an idea, a visual?
Well, I have a body, a physical body if I prefer to have one, or I can be a light being. I have a tail, arms, legs, a head just like all of you. I'm taller, but kind of slender. I do have what I guess beautiful eyes from what most people have said. I have many abilities, but for the most part, what most would need to know is I'm just here to help. The physical doesn't matter. My physical looks I don't feel is really necessary at this time.
Yeah.
Well,
Interesting.
just like all humans are not good and all humans are not bad. Same thing everybody tries to tell about the reptilians. So we get this concept that they're all bad, but they're not, so there's good ones and bad ones. So, but it's freaky because people can't imagine talking to a reptilian being without being a little nervous or a little afraid or, intimidated. So,
Yeah, I think it's a bonus to not get hung up on the physical appearance of any being.
right.
We do need to, as humans, we need to move past that, even with other beings on this planet.
Or other
humans.
people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We tend to judge by appearance. And really, I mean, deep down, we're all soul, we're all light beings, no matter what kind of a physical body we have. So I think that in itself is a good message. Yeah, I'm just a little.
I like how I described that, that he can be physical, but he could be light being too.
Yeah.
There's this interesting sort of paradox is that, say, what would you be more frightened of staring in your window, a second floor window, a reptilian or a human?
Good point. Good point. Probably a human, to be honest with you. But I'm, I guess maybe one of the lucky ones because I've never had a bad experience. So the only contact I've had with reptilian, it's all telepathic. They won't get very close. And I never feel fearful, for one thing. And I don't think there's ever been anything malicious. So, I've been very blessed. I like the energy that the ones that I have had experience with. I like the energy. So, yeah, I'd take them over people. For sure.
Might be less complicated.
Yeah. Yeah. They could at least tell me things I don't know, right?
True.
I could learn a thing or two.
All right. So with this next clip, this one talks about the changes that are coming up and more about the new Earth.
Okay.
There's going to be lots of change that's going to happen within New Earth. Right now, your vibrations are not where we are at. This is where we are. We are at the New Earth. A higher vibration just waiting for everybody to transfer and change to where we are. New Earth and Old Earth has a very different, very, very, very different outlook. As we all know, the polarity of energy that is in the Old Earth right now cannot exist to where we are right now. Old Earth has lots of changes to do. But right now, our main focus is to help everyone vibrate to where we are at in order for everyone here to help. That is where we find the balance. Upgrades are needed, and so does change. Life moves on, and everything goes with the flow.
So I like how he describes new Earth as already being there. It's just a vibrational state.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just matching your frequency with it.
Right. And, thinking about what he's saying, I'm thinking, this is the evolution. This is our ascension, the evolution. It's happening. It's going to happen, like it or not. So, I know that there are humans that are saying, oh, no, we're not going to go there. But it's inevitable. It's happening. And it's one of those things, for earthly beings, it feels like it's taking a long time. I think we've been in the process since, at least 2016 of just that whole evolution. But that's my opinion.
No, I agree with you. I do. I think changes are coming. We have to change in order to survive in this larger community. That's obviously there, and we have to deal with it. So
we can't be a bunch of preschoolers running around creating problems and stuff up there.
Yeah.
they gotta.
Yeah, I'm sure they're very leery about letting us off right now. But,
well, I do feel like myself. I feel like I've changed from the 80s till now, almost drastically. I mean, because if you would meet most members of my family, I stand out like a sore thumb, and it's like, how did I come from that tribe? But something happened to me. Something drastic happened, and it's propelled me into these. I'm evolving into something different that's more connected to things, and I know I'm one of millions on this planet, and I feel part of it is from whatever experiences I've had.
Right.
That's propelled me, and I'm trying to pull along as many folks as I can grab on the way, helping. That's my job.
Right.
So,
right.
I kind of that all kind of resonates with me in some way.
Right. Yeah, I mean, love is the highest vibrational emotion that there is. Mm-hmm. And if we can all stay in a more place, that place of love, then it's automatic. But, I'm wondering statistically, if Deb's story, and probably all of us here, if that's the norm, do you see that, Bill, that, people who have experiences, are totally different than what they used to be, different from their family. It changes them.
Oh yeah. And you sort of have two categories of people who had it happen from when they were really young and grew up with it and had all of these sensibilities when they were young. And you don't really see a change so much. You can see a person that might be out of step with most people that based upon their experiences. And then as an adult, it really depends on the type of experience they have. They could really knock them into elation or despair based upon that experience they have and the filter that they have. It's a lot more difficult when they get older, but change either way. I don't think anybody remains the same after something like that. It's a profound change.
Yeah, I think, Bill, you and I are kind of lucky because we were in a family that all our family members were part of this. Mm-hmm. I know my brothers were, my mother was, and you too, right? You had other family members that were involved. That makes it a lot easier to grow up and to be accepted, at least by your peers or by your siblings and stuff. So some people like, how about you, Deb? Did you have people in your family?
Well, I mean, I had my mother and my older sister, and so I had a few members of my immediate family that had experiences too.
Right.
But
your mother, right?
And my mother and my older sister and my kids. But it's like still, even and even they, my mother and my older sister, seem to be somewhat like me, different than the rest of the siblings and cousins and other parts of the family. I was the most drastic of them, of the change, but Mom and Kathy did definitely exhibit some differences from everyone else.
Now, you didn't have that luxury, did you?
No, I didn't. My family didn't talk about that, and it's interesting because my mom was a medium. My mom was pretty evolved.
But she couldn't talk about it.
Yeah. I mean, now I know she had experiences. There were, those little hints, but it wasn't something you could talk about. My father was Air Force, and you definitely didn't talk about it. Absolutely not at all. So even though things happened, you didn't dare speak it.
What about you, Mary?
I've always been the black sheep of my family.
Yeah,
I still am. Growing up, I love my family, but there's still times where I don't feel like I'm a part of my family, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
I have my brothers and my sisters and my mom, but I still don't feel like I belong there. They all accept me. They get along with me. It's not that. It's just I've never felt at home.
Yeah. Like you got another family somewhere else, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I kind of wonder about our experiencer here, the young man being regressed, if he has any of those. I mean, is his family supportive? Is it a generational thing? Has it always been a part of his life? Do we know?
From my understanding, he had a little bit of a rough upbringing. I don't know much more about the history other than that, but his family is very supportive now, to the point where I think a couple of weeks ago, even his mother started to express memories that she'd had of her own experiences, where him doing this work and sharing it with her opened her up, and she started sharing. So I definitely think there is.
Yeah.
And it's been a whole healing experience for all of them.
Nice.
And not just him.
Nice.
Good.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the whole point of it too, right? Disclosure. Sharing the experiences with everybody on this show, but really the whole point is for you to find some closure and to get some answers and to heal that wound so that you can do other things with your life instead of just focusing on this.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So it's been good for him.
Yeah.
And pointing him in the direction he's supposed to be in. So
that's a good thing. That's a positive.
I think so. That makes me happy.
Yeah.
Being an experiencer can can make your life not so easy, and you can have a lot of issues because of it. So to see, positive coming from it.
Yeah.
And, I'm really hoping that's where this is all going, that people are going to be more open and understanding. And, it's like at UFO Contact, I always say, sometimes the most important thing you could say to someone is, I believe you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you just have that. Yeah, it's not a great thing. So the experience itself changes us in a good way, I think. It brings out a whole different type of person, more loving, more open, more understanding, all of that. But it can be a rough way to go.
Well, it gives you the tools. You get a change. It gives you a tool that you can use, but you have to choose. I always used to say before, when I always used to tell Bud, there'll be a new world here, and it will be for everyone. but not everyone will be there because you have to want to be there. It's going to be a choice, and not everyone is going to choose it because not everyone understands, and some people will be afraid. I always used to say that all the time because I kept like him. I would be told that change was coming and change was it was be a good one, but some people are afraid of change, whether it's bad or good. Again, and so everyone is welcome, but not everyone will choose. And I feel like I kind of got that from this fella, and the changes in me. There are things that have been done to everyone, but each individual person uses what they got in whatever way they know how. And like you can show people, you can put someone somewhere, but unless they found their way there, it doesn't have the same impact on them. So you know what I'm saying? It's hard for me to verbalize this, but we all have these contacts, and we can either let it wreck us or let it guide us to a better place. That's our choice. I mean, I'm speaking for myself, of course. I can't speak for anyone else, but
that's a very good message, and a lot of people are talking about that. So some people will be ready, and some people won't. So sorry, Bill.
Speaking of something kind of that Deb DeRusse is talking about in terms of having somebody there who listens, I recently watched the Netflix Encounters miniseries, and the one about the Ariel school in Africa and John Mack's compassion to these children, and their memory of him being somebody that came out and actually listened. Their school didn't want to listen, their families didn't want to listen, their community didn't want to hear about it, and they were well aware that the issues that he had standing up for this phenomena, they wanted to boot him out of Harvard for malpractice. And he was able to survive that. And in this, which is decades later, like 30 years later, these kids, now very much adults, remember that somebody came and that somebody listened, and that was a big deal for them.
Yeah, that was powerful. I mean, and I met Mac a couple times. I wish I'd known him better. What a great loss. But you're exactly right that, and that's what I've tried to do in my own life, just to be someone that somebody could talk to. I put my email address on the internet for the last 30 years to anybody can write me and tell me, and I try to respond to everyone, just because I was lucky. Like you said, I had my sister, my mom. I was more fortunate than most people that I was listened to. But that's really important, that to be there for the others.
I wish that guy that works for Harvard there was talking about how he was basically, John Mack was nuts.
I was thinking something.
Yeah, but what I wish he was alive today. I don't know if he is or not, but and what he would say today. After all the evidence and all the things that have happened. So, he wouldn't be ridiculing anybody now. So,
I don't think so.
All right. So for this last clip, this one talks about how we're all going to be working together, moving forward towards the project of New Earth.
We will all be working together, helping one another do parts of this project. As this project goes further, it will become more complicated. It will only be complicated because those are not awake and trying to learn what the truth really is. You will all be part of this truth and system to help awake everybody as a whole. You are all just part of the same project, but doing all different jobs.
Is everybody a part of this project?
everybody has a part to play, as we are all part of living on this earth. So therefore, yes.
Yeah, I believe that because we're all connected. You know, we're all one of the same thing. We're all one, but, you know, some will choose not to participate. They don't want to be awake.
Right.
And possibly, maybe that's their role.
Maybe.
Maybe, I don't know. You know, as he was speaking, I'm thinking, okay, so maybe those who definitely don't want to go there are there for a reason to kind of keep things grounded until that time is right. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
And I think part of the regression I left out, that's what the reptilian was saying, that they're not going to abandon everybody who decides to stay behind. Because that's the way he described it, like that too, was saying that some people are going to choose to go and some are going to choose to stay here. I think that's where the free will comes into play. But he said that they wouldn't abandon the people who choose to stay. They would continue to stay here and continue to try to raise the vibration so that more people would want to go to the higher frequency,
Right.
higher vibration.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense to me and is in line with what I've felt. Yeah.
We're all patiently waiting for the.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's just you know, it makes you think. You know, it was a pretty powerful message. You know, what's coming through there. So, and you know, like I said, I've heard from several people talking about what you're talking about, Deb, about there's a new Earth coming, and then there's people are going to stay behind on the old Earth, and I don't know what that means, but I don't know if it's metaphorical or whatever, but it's been talked about big time, and I think it's funny how you say we're all connected. It's funny how something comes across, it just spreads across the planet so quickly for those who can see it or hear it or feel it, and I don't know how that happens, but it happens all the time. Like the people are meant to get this information or feel this vibration or feel this energy. You know, they all feel it at the same time. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, an example of that, there's many, but one was when we were writing the book Worlds Beyond Death, that there is no true death. And it was like, boom, you have to do this and you have to do this now. And it was kind of universal. Many other authors wrote about the same thing the same year, including Rosemary Ellen Guiley. Josh Gates did a thing on, I can't think
Life
of it.
After Death.
On whatever his show is on the same topic. So that's kind of, you know, the message kind of goes across around the universe, and we all get the same memo at the same time and act and react accordingly. So, you know, that's kind of what's going on. I think that, you know, we just have to be a little bit careful to not fall into, like, I'm going to get spanked for this, but conspiracy theories and the theories of, you know, people know exactly what's going to happen, because we don't. We really don't. And we need to go with our hearts, and we need to stay in love and be kind to people, period. You know, without saying, okay, this is how it's going to be and this is what's going to happen, because that can cause fear in itself.
Yeah, we know how quickly a cultural impact can hit if you look at music trends or fashion trends, but try to predict one. You know, they're always unpredictable. They always come out of left field. You never know what's coming. And then when it hits, everybody's doing it. Everybody's listening or whatever. And I think it's like that people can very quickly spread a new culture but you can't really see it coming. You can't be that one.
Yeah, where's it come from, right?
Right. Yeah. Perfectly said.
So,
I like that.
and that's a pretty powerful thing, really. I mean, you can get everybody just gets on the same wavelength or same page or the same something.
Yeah. How does it happen?
All at once. It just happens just like that. Mm-hmm. It can go a bad way too, you know. So,
because we're plugged in to that big network in the sky.
Yeah.
Everybody get on the love boat.
All right. Well, that's all we have for tonight. So big thank you to you guys, and a big thanks to the audience, and a big thanks to Bill Konkoleski for filling in for Michael Carter.
Thank you, Bill.
It's
And
great having you here.
we'll see you guys all next week.
Wonderful.
All right.
Thank you.
Sounds
Good night,
great.
everybody.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
We're the voices of experiencers, and we are the experiences with extraterrestrials.
Yeah, I mean, there's several people have talked about this happening, this flash, and I mean, it goes back all the way to the Hopi Indians. Yeah, it'll take the grid down, and if they got something in place, I'm good with it. You use ...
Yeah, that's Morse code.
Yeah, Morse code. Well, they had an electrical grid for that at one time. You can send a message, and I don't know what year it was, but a solar flare wiped it all out. You can look it up. Here we go again. Hear that?
Morse code.
See?
What?
Somebody was talking.
I heard that too. I heard the talking part. I'm like, what is that?
Yeah.
It's time for disclosure. It's time for truth, because truth brings powerful transformations.
It's definitely becoming more normal to turn on your television or pick up a newspaper and see something, to the point that people almost poo-poo it anymore. It's like, oh, another UFO sighting. More talk on UFOs or on the phenomena.
We're the voices of change and profound evolution.
Recently, I heard a couple encounters where people reacted as if it was a full-on invasion, and it struck me that I was actually surprised that I didn't hear that more often. Somebody who's not used to the phenomena has an encounter, and they think it's isolated to them, but why not think it's, whenever you see in a movie or a TV show some UFO come down, usually that means like the invasion force is here. It's interesting how rare it is that I've heard that somebody having an encounter, they'll just understand it's got something to do with that time and that moment, rather than to have it be something bigger.
We're the bridge between two different worlds.
I do feel like myself, I feel like I've changed from the 80s till now, almost drastically. I mean, because if you would meet most members of my family, I stand out like a sore thumb, and it's like, how did I come from that tribe? But something happened to me. Something drastic happened, and it's propelled me into these. I'm evolving into something different that's more connected to things, and I know I'm one of millions on this planet, and I feel part of it is from whatever experiences I've had.
Profound integration is coming.
That is why he's here. And that is why you were connected to him. This whole project is connected to everyone that's going through this ascension. Parts of this whole entire thing that we are going through, you are part of it as well as everyone else. His part in this is to help everyone awake by speaking the truth of his experiences to help others learn their truth and their experiences. You are doing one part of a job while he will be doing another. That is why you guys have found each other and connected. You will all be working together, helping one another do parts of this project.
Just who are extraterrestrials? Let's find out with the voices of